It's time for the Lowell Green Show, originating live on BlastTheRadio.com. Ask your smart speaker to play Blast the Radio. Live video available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Email Lowell at BlastTheRadio.com. The number to call or text is 613-413-2217. And now, telling it like it is, here's Lowell Green.
Thank you, John. I've come to a decision here. It's been a little while coming. This weekend helped me. I don't think that we can afford to live in this country anymore. I don't know where I can go, but I can't afford to live here anymore. Holy suffering doodle cats. I don't understand how anybody can afford to live in this country. Gasoline, Debbie paid, I think it was about $1.30 per liter yesterday.
Yep, that's about right.
Maybe down a little bit today. I don't know, but it's heading for $1.40. Who the hell can afford that? This time last year, John, gas was what, about 80 cents, 90 cents a liter?
It was under $1 anyway, for sure.
And food. Now, I've talked about food before.
Oh, God.
But I had to look. I don't do the grocery shopping, but I had to look at the bill, okay? Oh, the big long thing from Loblaws. Holy geez. It's unbelievable. I mean, $7 and something for a 10-pound bag of potatoes.
Oof.
Last year, as I recall, it was about $5 for that same bag. Fruit. Who can afford fruit? Vegetables. Out of sight. Seafood. I mean, forget it. I love seafood. But I got, once in a while, my wife will get me a real treat. I love crab, those big long legs, the big long crab legs. It was about $15 for about 3 of these legs. Unbelievable. Now, there, aside from some, once in a while, you'll get a pretty good bargain on chicken. Debbie seems to be able to find some chicken thighs. And as a consequence, that's, I would say that 2/3 of our meals here involve chicken in one form or another. I say, what's for dinner? I say, what kind of chicken? I don't ask what's for dinner. I say, what kind of chicken have we got tonight?
Same thing is going on here.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's teriyaki tonight. It's whatever it is. It's always these different kinds of chicken. Aside from that, I mean, I just don't understand how people can live anymore. And by the way, if anybody sees any really good bargains in food or anything else out there, please let me know. And it doesn't end with food, okay? Our property tax, I don't know about you, John, but our property taxes here, for some inexplicable reason, they're up about 10% from last year. And I can guarantee you there has not been a 10% increase in services. We still only get garbage pickup, twice a month, once every 2 weeks, even in the heat of summer with maggots all over the damn stuff.
Yeah.
Every time, and a real hot day, because clearly we've got to store our garbage, we'll put it down in the garage. And every once in a while, the Tuesday is, every other Tuesday is garbage day here. And in the hot days of summer, I will hear, from downstairs. Debbie's in checking the garbage, and sure enough, there are maggots.
Yep.
And I'm the only guy that can get rid of the maggots. Holy doodle. So, I mean, it's just every time you turn around. And I just don't understand. When I was raising my family, no, I grant you that's a few years ago. But generally speaking, with some exceptions, generally speaking, you could raise your family and do quite well, put good food on the table and have your vacations and all the rest of it, live the pretty good life on one income. I tell you that today, to live the same kind of life, you've got to have at least 2 incomes, and very soon I don't think that's going to be enough. I don't know. What are we going to have to do? Have 3 incomes in a house? We're going to take in boarders in order to afford. And by the way, if you check to see like what's really gone up, well, the cost of everything has gone up. But one of the main reasons that it costs so much more to live today than it did just a few years ago are taxes. Taxes have increased more than 300% in the last 10 years. Did you know that? So that affects the price of everything. I mean, the people who run the stores and grow the food and so forth, they got to pay taxes too. So their cost of production goes way up. Carbon taxes added a really, really tough burden on a lot of farms, for example. We've talked about that before. So as I say, if anybody sees any really good bargains out there, I would sure love to hear it. Let me know. And by the way, John, just go through again how people can get in touch with us here.
Absolutely. 613-413-2217 is the phone number. You can call, you can text as well. You can follow Lowell on Facebook. We're on twitch.tv/blasttheradio. It's easiest just to go to blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. All your connection points are right there. But the phone number is 613-413-2217.
And you can just go to your, what do you call it, Siri, and what's the other one that
well, you go to your smart speaker.
Alexa.
So you got Alexa, you got Google, and just ask it to play Blast the Radio. You'll hear the show live, and if you can't hear the show live, you want to hear the podcast, ask it to play the Lowell Green Podcast.
That's, my brother and sister-in-law live in Brantford, Ontario. And I was talking to them a couple of months ago, and Paul said, how do I get in touch? I'd love to listen to your program. I said, Paul, it's real easy. Have you got Alexa in your house? Yeah. I said, just during the show, I said at 2:00, just go to Alexa and say, Lowell, turn on Blast the Radio. You're kidding. He said, no, that's it. That's all you got to do. And there I am. And as a matter of fact, we have friends, a lovely couple from Texas, and they do the same thing every day. I think it's Siri down there.
We got you on all the right outlets.
All the right spots.
Yes, sir.
Oh. So much for progress, right? As I say, it used to be that you could live pretty well on one income. Now you're hard-pressed to live as well with two incomes. Tomorrow, who the hell knows? But talking about progress, or the lack thereof. Big story in the Sun today about our local garbage dumps filling up. Now, we've had stories about garbage dumps filling up for the past 30, 40 years. Every year we're told, the Carp Mountain is full. The Trail Road garbage dump is full. What are we going to do? Now, I have to warn you. As you know, in order to try and force us to use and create less garbage, they restricted garbage to only twice a month. And they've done some other things as well. But you know what's going to come next? I'm going to tell you right now. They're going to ration the amount of garbage that you can have. I don't know what. Oh, I do actually know what's going to happen when they start rationing garbage. We're going to see far more of it dumped in the ditches around here in the countryside. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen. The other thing, of course, is that they're going to charge you more. There's going to be a premium. If you have more than one bag of garbage, doesn't matter if you got 50 people in your household, you got more than one or two bags, they're going to charge you extra. You'll have to put a little sticker on you. I don't know. But see, what really gets me in all of this is that they totally ignore the obvious solution to garbage. The solution is not to dump garbage in the center of the city, because that's exactly what's happening. I mean, the Trail Road now is pretty well in the middle of the city. So is the Carp Mountain in the city of the city, in the center of the city. I mean, most of the rest of the civilized world long ago discovered, here it comes, I know, high efficiency incineration. Now, I've heard people say, well, I don't know. I would say that the most left wing of all Canadian cities is Vancouver, right? I mean, that's where all the left-wing wackos live. If you're not shooting a needle into yourself out there, you're shooting each other. The other thing they're doing in Vancouver, this great left-wing nirvana, is they're creating about 1/3 of all of their hydro, their electricity, with, guess what? A high-efficiency incinerator. And I was surprised to learn that they've had a high-efficiency incinerator in Vancouver for more than 20 years. So the left, if an incinerator is good enough for the lefties of Vancouver, seems to me it should be good enough for the lefties here in Ottawa, but apparently not. As a matter of fact, in Vancouver, about 1/3 of all the hydro for Vancouver comes from burning garbage. About 1/3 of all garbage from Vancouver is burned in that incinerator. And it is so successful that they are building another one. I'm not sure if they've started it yet, but I think it's in Surrey. The plans are there. It may already have been started. So that's how successful. Scandinavian countries. I mean, I could go through the whole list. Finland, et cetera, Norway, Sweden. I mean, they have been burning and creating electricity with their garbage for, in some cases, 50 years. I was in Sweden, I guess 10 years ago, and was surprised to find out that a good many of the major buildings in downtown Stockholm, for example, have little incinerators in the building, in the basements. They create some of those big buildings in Stockholm and a number of other cities in Scandinavian countries. They burn their own garbage, their paper and all the rest of it, and create their own electricity. Some of those buildings in Sweden, they don't even have wires coming, no electricity wires coming in. All the electricity is created in the building, not from windmills or solar panels or all the rest of that nonsense, but from simply burning the garbage. Now, what happened, of course, here in the city, incineration. What happened, unfortunately, a number of years ago, we got talked into a plan called Plasco. This was Plasco, yeah. This was a highly experimental idea, and it didn't work. Now, fortunately, the city somebody was smart enough. We didn't spend any money. It was all private money, but it simply didn't work. But I think that this has discouraged the idea. People just simply don't follow up. They don't really pay attention, and they think that Plasco is incineration. No, it wasn't. It was an entirely different system, which didn't work. Incineration has been around for, as I say, 50, 60 years, highly successful. And in these days of very expensive electricity, this is one of the best ways of creating electricity. In fact, we had a spokesman about 10 years ago that came here. He was a member of the Swedish embassy. He came here. He gave us a lecture, told us how they are using incineration throughout Sweden. And in Sweden, and I think even in Holland, it is illegal to dump garbage on the ground. They just simply don't. It's all burned. It's used to create electricity. So, yeah, about 10 years ago, and maybe about 50, whatever it was, we were told, we had all of the plans given exactly how to. If we had started an incinerator at that time, about 10 years ago, in 10 years' time, in other words, today, it would be fully paid for by the amount of electricity. So we would have a wonderful, wonderful location to burn electricity, and it wouldn't cost us anything because it would all be paid for by the electricity that it generates. Now, some people think, oh, God, we don't want an incinerator, it's so ugly. I challenge you. Have any of you people watching or listening ever driven on Highway 407 around the north end of Toronto? You ever been along 407 to skirt 401, John? No? We use it all over.
I haven't been to Toronto in forever, so
good for you. Smarter than I.
I try and skirt as far around. I go east.
Go
I go east to New Brunswick.
Okay. Well, I go down to Brantford and London, where my family is. So there's no way I'm driving along 401. So I take 407, as do thousands of other people. I challenge anybody who has driven along Highway 407 to tell me where the high-efficiency incinerator is. I'll tell you. It's right beside the road of the Highway 407. It supplies a good chunk of the north end of the Toronto area with electricity. You can't spot it. It looks like just any other building. There isn't even a smokestack from it. None. And I'll never forget, this is a number of years ago, we were on a cruise, a good group of us from Ottawa, some great people, and we had a little side trip into the beautiful, livable city of Vienna. Every year, the ratings come out, and Vienna, generally speaking, is listed as the most livable city in the world. Vienna, Austria. It's a beautiful city. Guess one of the first things that catches your eye when you drive into Vienna? We went in with a bus. We come to this, we see this building off in the distance, and everybody says, what in the world is that? It was beautiful. It was all painted up and decorated and everything. Guess what? It was a high-efficiency incinerator. It is a major tourist attraction in Vienna. It supplies about 1/3 of all Vienna with all of the hydro that it needs, and it's a major tourist attraction. All of the trucks that come in, by the way, go underground, so you don't see any trucks. There's no effluent. There's no smokestack or nothing from it. There's nothing. No odor, no sound, no nothing. Just a beautiful, beautiful, very attractive building in downtown Vienna but it's not good enough for us here in Ottawa. It's craziness, crazy. It's you know, when you stop and think about it, we are doing with our garbage today what they did back in medieval times. Just dump the garbage in the center of our city. That's it. Just dump her there, boys. Try and deal with the stink and the rats and the seagulls and all the rest of it, and then the sewage that's coming out of it. Try to deal with that. And that's the way. Well, actually, they were a little bit smarter than that in Robin Hood's day. You know what they did with their garbage then? At the very least, they threw it over the wall. They didn't put it in the center of the city. I'm not dumping the garbage in the center of the city. They threw it over the wall. Here, we leave it in the center of the city. John, you've got some text
Yep,
here.
some text rolling in, 613-413-2217. We'd love your calls as well. In Bilbao, Spain, the garbage is incinerated in the center of the city. So there's no smell, and the outside of the building is a tourist attraction because it's all covered in titanium.
Oh, really? Really? Where is that?
That's in Bilbao, Spain.
Really?
So not far from where
Okay.
you were talking about. Anthony
Okay.
says they charge per bag in Woodstock, Ontario. I think it's $1 a bag.
Yeah.
I mentioned New Brunswick earlier. All the garbage has to be in clear bags because they do. They go around and they inspect what you're throwing out. Nina says they...
Wait a minute. There's the job for some of our PhDs, right? Our garbage inspector. I am going to go out. We're going to have clear bags. I'm going to check and see what you got in your garbage there.
That's what they do.
Okay, go ahead.
Nina says they already charge more in Gatineau, and we have garbage police there. Mike says they do the same here in Kempville. And Dave put a link on your Facebook page to New York City. They incinerate their garbage. And my question, when you mentioned Plasco, was that the one Rod Bryden was behind?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yes, that it's unfortunate. I was a little leery at the time, but we didn't. At the very least, I was on the air on a daily basis, CFRA, but at least we didn't put any taxpayers' money. It was all Rob Rodden and his partner's money. It was very experimental, and it didn't work. It was some I don't know, using steam or something of that nature, and it simply didn't work. But I think that sadly, that has discouraged us from doing the proper thing. I mean, this is crazy. We should not be dumping our garbage in the center of our cities. It's nasty. It's dangerous. It causes pollution. It attracts rats and other undesirables, including, by the way, seagulls. I can remember before we raised so much hell about the Carp Mountain and it was wide open, just a stinking, terrible, fermenting mountain of garbage. The seagulls at the Carp Mountain used to be so bad that, I mean, you wouldn't want to drive by there with a convertible, right? Because you'd get bombed for sure. Yes, we got to deal with Shield. Well, we want to Shields. Great folks, and once again, I am so pleased to see or hear from people who have gone to Shields for the first time. As Lowell, you're absolutely right. They had exactly what we wanted there. The price is very reasonable. There's a big sale underway right now at Shields. And what I think most people really appreciate is there's no delay. It's 99% of anything that you would want is right there in stock. Beautiful. And it's all listed on there. They have a very good website. It's a very, very well done website that shows you exactly what they have at Shields, the price and the savings. It's all right there. And very friendly. And as I've said this before, buy a major purchase, a major appliance, 2 free T-bone steaks. And these days, the T-bone steaks are worth almost as much as some of the appliances.
Can I finance my steak?
Yeah, Shields.ca. And not only that, folks, you're not sending your money off to China. China doesn't need your money. They want your money, but leave it locally, please. Yes, John, more text coming in here.
Most of the comments that are remaining are about the increasing cost of living.
Yeah.
But I do have another question. How do we end up with Orga World? Because Orga World that's where all the green bin stuff goes. Was that around the same time was that like the compromise?
Yeah, that was about the same. We got really taken on that one as well. That was, sometimes I get the idea that a flock of turtles would do a better job of running this city. Oh, yeah. Orga World was a good example there. And we're paying far more than we should have there.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a long time ago. John, go ahead.
All right. Regarding the cost of living and the increase, Anthony says, I go to the reservation in Six Nations just outside Brantford and got gas last week for about $1.10 a liter. Peter says it's insane. Seems the governments don't care about the prices consumers are being charged on everything. Between the carbon tax, etc., prices on many things have gone up 3 to 4 times on food items. Nothing wrong with companies making a profit, but now it's just simply greed. Look at the huge profits of the big box supermarkets. An email from...
Well, wait a minute. Hold it just a minute. It can't be that profitable. Didn't the Trudeau government give Loblaws $12 million? I mean, Loblaws was,
Yes.
sucking wind so bad that they had to give them $12 million. Didn't that happen?
For new freezers.
Something,
Yep.
something like that. Go ahead, John.
We've got an email. By the way, the address here is lowell@blasttheradio.com. Lisa says, Lowell, I use 2 apps, Rebee.com and Flip.com for flyers, and I'm always checking prices. Joshua says, this is the carbon tax at work. John says, we signed up with a farm about a half hour away for a weekly bin. $23 a month gets us more than we can get through most weeks. That's cool.
Bin of what?
I'm guessing food.
Be nice to know what kind of food he's talking
Probably
about.
chicken.
I don't know. Go ahead.
No, after you. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, there's been controversy over the Milk Marketing Board. People are, we're paying more. But if you check the situation, you will see that probably some of the best bargains we've got today are chicken, and there is an egg marketing. There's a poultry marketing board, and yet that's where you'll see the best bargains. I think that the price of milk has remained quite stable as well, and of course there's milk marketing. On the other hand, there is no question that the meat that's increased in price the most is right out of sight, is beef. There's no beef milk marketing board, folks. So all of these people like Bernier and so who want to destroy the last, profitable family farm, the dairy farm, just keep that in mind, folks. Milk and chicken, eggs, they have a marketing board, and the prices have remained pretty stable. Beef, on the other hand, has no marketing board, and the price is just through the roof. There's no marketing board on seafood either, by the way. I was going to say that the government will try to tell you that the cost of living is only up, I think, about 2% or something. Don't believe that. The cost of living has escalated far beyond 2%, believe me. In fact, my wife, who pays very close attention, figures that in the last year alone, she figures that the increased cost of food alone is somewhere between 15 and 20%. And by the way, you got to really be careful, as I'm sure many of you know. If the price itself has not gone up, the price may be the same, but the size of the package has probably gone down.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the old tricks that they use. I want to get a word in here for my other friends at Centennial Glass, right? If it's glass of any kind, and I don't talk enough about the fact that they custom cut glass. If you have a special need, and by the way, there's a lot of this these days with a lot of the shields. I know some of the shields that you'll see at restaurants, and if you ever get to a restaurant again, are plastic, but they're making a lot of this of glass. And the same thing in some of the schools. And nobody does it better. They've innovated some very interesting ideas, actually, at Centennial using glass. So if it's custom glass of any kind, glass furniture, and they will design glass furniture for you. Got a special need. Banisters, beautiful, and glass railings as well. Patios, and of course, windows and doors. Nobody, by the way, has better prices, gives you better service than Centennial Glass. They're there in Industrial Avenue, not far from the train yards, Industrial Avenue here in Ottawa, and in good old Renfrew. Yes, John.
Chris says paying more for smaller quantities, so agreeing with you there. Anthony says the good old carbon tax is a tax on a tax on a tax on a tax. I thought at one time the government was not allowed to charge tax on tax. Greg says, Lowell, chicken feet are on sale at Metro. Just boil them and add barbecue sauce. Thanks, Greg.
You can eat the chicken feet. I'm not eating chicken feet. Thank you very much. Although I will eat pigtails. You ever eat pigtails?
No. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. No, pigtails. If they I don't know, deep fry them or something, they can be quite good, quite tasty.
You know what? Just don't tell me they're pigtails, and I'm probably
okay.
dare
All
to
right.
eat that.
Well, there's a lot of stuff. What do you think goes in? By the way, do you eat hot dogs?
Don't. Yes, I know.
Okay.
I try not to think about it.
On another topic
Sure,
here, I got to
right.
deal with this. Okay. In face of the incredible boasting from our prime minister and an incredibly lazy, dishonest press, I've got to set the facts straight about vaccinations in this country. If you read the press, you listen to the prime minister, you get the idea that glory, glory, hallelujah, we're all being vaccinated, our problems are over, we'll soon have wide open everything here, there. Wait a minute. Can we please just tell the truth in a truthful manner? Big headlines, all this new, big headlines say we have vaccinated 39% of Canada's population. Wait a minute. We've vaccinated 39%, and this is boasting material. I don't get this. We've been at this 5 months. Well, next Wednesday will be exactly 5 months, so call me a liar for 3 days, okay? So I don't get this. In 5 months' time, we have vaccinated 35 with only one shot. So we have only half vaccinated, 39%. But that means 61% don't even have a single shot yet. Can this be? How come the media doesn't say that? How come the media is always talking about, we got 39%? Wait a minute. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. That means it's 61%, and this is according to Health Canada's own figures. I'm not making this stuff up. This comes right from the federal government. The federal government is boasting about the fact they got 39% of us vaccinated, half vaccinated, which means that 61% of us aren't even half vaccinated. Not even half-assed half vaccinated. After 5 months, 61% of us still don't have a single shot. No, they're speeding it up. Yeah, they're speeding up. But you know what? If you start with 0 and you go to 1, you've doubled the production, right? If you start with 2 and you go to 4, you've doubled the production. So, yeah, we're quite a bit speedier than we were. But we're still, the United States still, even though they've slowed down a little bit because of about 70% of the population has got at least one shot in the States, and about 40%, both shots. So they've slowed down a little bit, but they're still doing about 2 some odd million a day. We're not doing 2 million in a month here still. Anyway.
I got into that with my father on our family Zoom call yesterday. He says, all this, you're so negative about this. He says, but on a per capita basis, we're ahead of the United States now. I'm like, where did you get that? No, I go looking at the list, and I Google, and it's independent charts. No, we're like around 31st on a per capita basis.
Yeah, it's what happened. Of
Not
course,
to throw my dad under the bus, but
yeah, but you see, what's happened is they've slowed down in the United States because a good chunk of the population's already vaccinated,
and the red states don't want them.
Vaccinated months ago. Okay, well, we're just right now. Finally, we're starting to vaccinate a few more people. So this is what that they keep throwing at it. But after it's all said and done, please remember, 61, now maybe by the end of today, 60%. So let's leave it at 60. 60% of our population after 5 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 5 full months, 60% of our population doesn't have a single shot. Now, the next thing, and the most important aspect here, the thing that, of course, as you know, the UK is just, what's happening there as well. Well, have a look at the United States. Even, some of the states are still restricting the number of people that can go to ball games. But I'm watching in Houston, Texas, the Blue Jays last night.
Yeah.
Looked to me like they said the stands were 50% full. It looked to me like they were almost full.
I agree with you. Yeah, I saw that.
Like 50,000 people. 50,000 people at the Kentucky Derby, et cetera.
And no masks, Lowell.
And no mask.
None.
And the beaches of Florida and California are absolutely jammed. And people are saying, how come? Well, the reason that in Florida, for example, over 70% of the people have had 2 shots. They've got, essentially, they've reached herd immunity in Florida. Meantime, so the Blue Jays are playing down in Houston last night to what looked to me like almost a full house, 20, 30, 40,000 people there with no masks. The Blue Jays can't even play in Canada.
Exactly.
The league won't let them play here. Well, the Canadian, I don't know who it is, but it's just too dangerous for them to play in Canada. So the poor old Blue Jays, who got a really exciting team this year, they're going to have to spend their season again, apparently, in Buffalo. So don't talk to me about how well we're doing with vaccines. But the other figure, the key figure, well, most other civilized nations, Israel, Bahrain, I could go on, the UK, Chile, the United States, have vaccinated about somewhere between 20 and 50% of in Israel, it's about 70% of the population fully vaccinated. We went through this yesterday. I got to do it again. What percentage of Canada's population have been fully vaccinated, 2 shots? What percentage? 3.2%. Once again, government figures. 3.2%. In other words, about 97% of Canada's population has not been fully vaccinated. 60% no vaccinations, 97% not fully vaccinated. You wonder why the beaches are open in Florida? You wonder why the stadiums are filling up in the United States? Are you a NASCAR fan? Well, huge crowd at the NASCAR. I don't know, thousands and thousands. And by the way, the numbers of infections dropping every single day in the United States. Why? They're vaccinated. Meantime, well, here in Canada, not so much fun, right? So the next time you see the Prime Minister up there pounding his puny little chest, boasting about all the vaccination, and the next time you read the headline, we got 39, just remember, turn it around. Well, if only 39% or 40%, let's say, are vaccinated, that means 60% aren't. Not one. That's why the Blue Jays can't play here. Thank you all, folks. We'll be back.
Lowell Green, live on blasttheradio.com. Show info and links at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Subscribe to the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and more. Or ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. Join us live weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on blasttheradio.com.